Yo, what's going on, Grinders? It's Chief. It's TJ. It's the pre-lock show for Sunday Night Football. And folks, as we close out the final weeks of Sunday Night Football, I'm going to get this out of the way early, TJ. I want to thank you guys. 18 weeks, TJ, is what we would have done. 18 weeks worth of Sunday Night Football come next week. And I want to thank all of you beautiful people for coming in, hanging out with us. Hopefully, we help you guys take down some winners along the way. I know TJ and myself have had a couple winners. Maybe not some of the big millies that you guys see, posted on Twitter, but we've had some nice nights. And TJ does post this to Twitter. I probably don't post as many of mine. I just kind of stay low key. The prop shop knows when I do well, but prop shop knows when those days come. But I just want to thank everyone just so much from the bottom of my heart for hanging in there with us on a Sunday and trusting us to try to put you in the right direction in how we feel like this game's going to go. I know TJ's come in. Hopefully we can run this back next year. I'm actually pretty excited about next year, even though NFL is winding up, TJ, because we've got a good thing going in here. I don't know if you can listen to that old school music, but there's a good thing going on with the spice. See, TJ's been bringing some spice to the captain position. And so I'm super, super just grateful for everyone. TJ, over to you, my friend. How's everything? And a couple more Sundays of this.
Couldn't agree more. Beautifully said. I hope we can keep it going into baseball season. Maybe we get a Chief and TJ Sunday night baseball crunch time slate, something like that.
And I love baseball.
That would just be beautiful. But I couldn't agree more. I want to shout out the viewers, but I also want to shout out to you, my friend, and Steve, because like every weekend, don't get me wrong, I love getting to the weekend when it's NFL Sunday and all of this, but I produce all day Saturday, write 4 articles on Saturday, host all day Sunday, write 4 articles Sunday, and then I just get to come here, chill, have fun. You do the hosting, Steve does the producing, and it's genuinely one of the highlights of my weekend is getting to do this show together. So shout out to the viewers, but shout out to you and Steve as well. And like you said, we've been making money all year long. Let's keep it going into tonight. I don't have quite as much spice in the captain position today, but I feel quite confident in my take. So there's not a lot of spice in the individual plays, but a lot of spice in the attitude for how good we're feeling.
Yeah, listen, I get it. I totally get it. And folks, let me tell you something. Do you want to put more spice and more attitude and more profits in your pockets? You need to, and that's what you're going to do when you check out the props and pick'em package. Get access to Rotogrinders all new props and pick'em package at a special holiday discount. We're running out of time for the holidays, folks. Better get it in now. Driven by the RG Premium Projections, our tool combs through your favorite sports books and fantasy pick'em sites to find you the best picks for the best odds. And for a limited time, you can get 50% off of your first month by clicking the link in the description below. Now, if you mainly just want to hook up with the spice for Showdown, you need to check out SimLabs. Now, use SimLabs to generate DFS lineups through the power of simulation. It combines data from every aspect of the slate to churn out lineups that match your preferences. In just a few clicks, you can have hundreds, and I do mean hundreds, of well-built correlated lineups ready to go for whenever and whatever type of contest you're playing. Be sure to check out the link in our description for more info. And just a mental note, if you're part of our NFL or Combo Premium, you already have access to the SimLabs tool. TJ, you said you don't have a lot of spice at the captain tonight. I don't know if I have any spice either, but I do have one that might be on the fringe, that might be on the fringe of spice. And believe it or not, it's Tucker Kraft. Now hear me out. Hear me out here on Tucker Kraft. What we've seen from Tucker Kraft is a willingness, TJ. Now, he's not Jaden Reed, don't get me wrong, but there's been a willingness to get Tucker Kraft the football with all of these guys sitting, right? So when we've had the other wide receivers, like, and this week we have Dontavian Wicks out. So as we've had these guys sitting, we've seen Tucker Kraft not only be involved, but pick up the targets, TJ. And so for me, that's what I'm excited about. And so when I get a guy, I know he's a tight end, but like when I look at this, TJ, the last 4 weeks, 6 targets, 4 targets, 6 and 6. There's only one other person that's been leading the charge, TJ, and that's Jaden Reed. Dontavian Wicks was picking up 6 or 7 targets. Now he's gone. I think this is a sneaky spot for Tucker Kraft in the captain position in a game where I think they're going to have to throw the football. And I'm not saying he's going to have the highest score. I'm saying for the discount on the price, Tucker Kraft Cheese may have a shot at leading us to Showdown glory. TJ, over to you.
I don't hate the Tucker Kraft idea. I don't think it's too crazy. I think it could be just spicy enough. I'm playing 3 lineups today, and right now I'm running 1 Justin Jefferson, 1 Jaren Hall, and 1 Jaden Reed. I think Jaden Reed is probably my favorite to go with here.
Oh, yeah.
Projected to be the 4th highest owned captain of the night, not super duper chalky. Should get tons of usage. No Christian Watson, no Dontavian Wicks. And we know that Jaden Reed is a very, very explosive player, and he's nice and cheap. He allows us to do lots of other things with that lineup. So I think Reed is my favorite, followed by Jaren Hall. Just too cheap for a starting quarterback and not picking up that crazy of ownership at the captain position. 3rd would be Justin Jefferson, but I don't hate the Tucker Kraft call.
Yeah, man, for me, Tucker Kraft is just allowing me to play those guys you're talking about in the flex. That's all it is. It's a way to open it up a little bit at captain and get a couple of those guys in there. And obviously, TJ, if he was a tight end that was getting 3 or 4 targets, I wouldn't be considering it. But looking at it, he may be tied or the second leading target getter on the team tonight based on how this lineup is constructed. So I am very excited about Tucker Kraft, and I'm going to have some of those other guys as well. TJ, let's go over to the flex. Let's kind of hunker down here at running back because we've got 2 teams that seem to have 2 running backs that they're going to utilize, one more than the other, of course. But both of these teams are going to have a semi-split backfield. Is there anyone that's standing out to you above the rest at running back tonight?
Probably Aaron Jones, just because I think he has the most big play potential. He's got the most likelihood to catch a lot of passes today, especially with how much Minnesota blitzes. I think he could be a quick outlet for Jordan Love today. I wrote that up in my Prize Picks article. I dropped that in chat. I want more than 16.5 receiving yards for Aaron Jones today, and I like him at the flex position as well. However, I have Jones in one of my 3 lineups, and that's the only running back I actually have in my 3 lineups today. Like you said, because of that split, but also I like the passing games for both sides more today than the running backs. Chandler would be my next favorite, and I honestly don't have much interest in using A.J. Dillon or Alexander Madison. Madison, probably not at all. And then A.J. Dillon, for me, it would just be like if I'm building a ton of lineups, I'm using a specific game script. The Packers defense is in there, and I'm playing a Packers onslaught, expecting them to be ahead.
Okay, I don't get that at all. I think for me, I'm with you. I think it's just the main guys, and I'm saying that because neither one of them are crazy expensive. Like you got Jones at 98, you've got Ty Chandler at 82. And I expect Ty Chandler to be involved as well. So, and he can catch a couple passes. So between both of those guys, I'm with you on Jones. Do like Ty Chandler as well. I guess if I had to choose, it would probably be A.J. Dillon for me as well. A.J. Dillon does feel like, bet is such a strong word because it's not really about betting. But he seems like the most likely to fall into the end zone out of between him and Madison in terms of fantasy points. So definitely like that call. We're going to move on over to wide receiver, where I think wide receiver, TJ, is kind of where the money is made tonight, in my opinion, because we do have some good options across the board at all price points. So let's start at the top here. I know Justin Jefferson is a guy that we like. Listen, I I talked about Justin Jefferson in my Showdown short. I also talked about Jaden Reed in my Showdown short. Those feel like the top two to me. But let's discuss Jefferson, highest price receiver on the slate. Yet another quarterback that's going to be throwing in the ball, TJ. I mean, he's had, 2 or 3 quarterbacks throwing the ball to him this season. Now he gets Jaren Hall. How are you feeling about Jettis?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson is definitely my top option on the slate for sure. He and Jaden Reed are the guys that I'm looking to get to the most. Justin Jefferson, Jaden Reed, top tier, mid tier, low tier, it's Malik Heath. Those are the 3 guys I'm targeting the most. Romeo Doubs, I like more in the pick'em streets. I just absolutely hammered his more than 3.5 receptions today. I wrote that up in my article as well. But he's just priced a little too expensive for me to want to get to unless I was playing more lineups and maybe a Jordan Love captain lineup. So it's top tier for me, Justin Jefferson. He's the guy I'm getting to the most. Mid tier, Jaden Reed. Lower tier, it's Malik Heath. If I'm getting spicy in tournaments, I don't hate the idea of mixing in a little bit of Brandon Powell. Jordan Addison's been banged up. KJ Osborne's been hit or miss all year. Powell gets a few gadget plays thrown his way sometimes, so I don't hate that. And going even cheaper, Samori Toure, I think, is very interesting for large field tournaments. He's not projected to get many snaps. He's not projected for very much production, but he's the number 4 receiver. He could get involved a little bit more. Reed's battled injuries. Heath's battled injuries. Dobbs hasn't so much lately, but has a lot in the past. It wouldn't take much for Toure to get a few extra snaps. Obviously Bo Melton is there too. But I don't hate it. Like literally no ownership taking Samori Toure shots in a large field tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Samori Toure saw 11% of the snaps last week, and Jaden Reed didn't play, but Dontavian Wicks did. Dontavian Wicks is out. Jaden Reed is in. So I don't hate the Samori Toure call. That's probably a real spicy one for tournaments, TJ. That's probably our spicy play of the day, even though it's not in the captain. I think that's a great call. For me, I'm with you. So Malik Heath is someone that I definitely like tonight. I just think he's gonna be on the field, and obviously the ownership, TJ, is swinging his way. I mean, we got him projected for, at least at the last time I refreshed, around 25% in terms of ownership. And he does open it up for you, TJ. He's another one of those guys that he's at 3,400, which allows you to get a little bit creative, right? And do a few things. And then you talked about Toure. He's at 1.6K. I definitely think Heath is the better of the two. But I'm with you on Toure, like we talked about. I think he could really one big catch, TJ, for a touchdown. And when I say big catch, for me, I'm saying when 1K and under guys get 10 to 12 points, at that point, it's, they've really opened it up for you because they're so cheap and allows you to do some other things. So he catches a 40-yard touchdown. I mean, that's 11 points, TJ. What else can you ask for at that price? So I love that call. Don't hate Brandon Powell as well. And so I am with you there. Let's talk about tight end, which we've already kind of covered, where we feel like Kraft. And I'm doing something a little bit different tonight, folks. Don't worry. I know we got plenty of time. Let's talk about Kraft here and some of these other tight ends and kind of get your perspective. I think Kraft is the guy. We got him projected around 27.96%. Let's call it 28%, TJ. Love Tucker Kraft here. I think he's probably the most active tight end that's going to be involved in this game. How are you feeling about Tucker Kraft, and then anybody else you want to squeeze in?
Tucker Kraft, definitely the top guy today, but I'm actually getting a little bit more exposure to Johnny Munt. Nice and cheap, big salary savings. Josh Oliver was priced above him, but Johnny Munt actually got more snaps last week. I view both of them pretty equally, but Johnny Munt is much, much cheaper. So Tucker Kraft is definitely one. Munt is a close second, though, because of how cheap he is. And then if I was playing more lineups, I would mix Josh Oliver in there too, specifically in my Jaren Hall captain lineups.
Yeah. So, I agree with that call. For me, I'll give you my thoughts on this. And obviously this is why he's so high owned. To me, Tucker Kraft is just a too cheap wide receiver today. For what, like, that's how I'm kind of processing it. Like, even though he's got the tight end tag, he's, like I said, I expect him to have, if not be first in target, second. He'd probably be second behind Jaden Reed. Don't get me wrong. But I expect them to have more targets than any of these other receivers. So that's really why I like Tucker Kraft. I'd probably almost be all in on Tucker Kraft today for what it's worth, because you got to think Jaden Reed is 74. Dobbs is 9K. Dobbs is 9K today on DraftKings, and Tucker Kraft is 5,800. So I really like him a ton. I think Tucker Kraft is probably my favorite play on the slate for what it's worth, between captain and flex. So there we have it there, TJ. Let's go to our most interesting position. It's defenses. And I'm not thrilled about defenses tonight, but I totally get it. Like, we did see a portion of a game from Jaren Hall, like earlier this season, and then he left, got hurt, and the Pasternak came in, and they kind of rode that wave, and then he was out, and then Nick Mullins came in, and now Jaren Hall is back. I don't like the defenses, TJ, but Jaren Hall is still a young quarterback. And so I'm inclined to play some Packers defense. Like, I'm inclined. The defenses are a lot cheaper today than usual, TJ. I don't want to say than usual, but like, I think the past couple of Sundays, the defenses have been like high fours, low fives. And today we're getting them in that cheap range, 3K, 4K, 3,600 for the Packers, 4K for the Vikings. I'm inclined to play the Packers defense because of Jaren Hall today. What are your thoughts on defense, TJ?
Yeah, I agree with you. Packers defense is just so cheap, and they're going up against Jaren Hall, so I think they're absolutely viable. I think they're very viable in double Packers running back lineups. You just see a game script where Jaren Hall is terrible. Packers defense gets some turnovers. They don't have to throw the ball at all, and they're just punching it in with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones all day. I do think the Vikings defense is viable too, though. If you're running a lot of lineups, or you want to run a script with Ty Chandler and Alexander Mattison, and you throw the Vikings defense in there as well, because Jordan Love, you never really know what you're going to get with him. Jordan Love sometimes looks like Patrick Mahomes, sometimes he looks like Patrick Starr from SpongeBob. Like, he doesn't have it sometimes. Other times he's locked in. And so the Vikings defense has upside. I was trying to keep a straight face through that joke, but you're laughing too much. I couldn't help it. And then in addition, like, the Vikings blitz more than any other team in football. And so they give up a lot of big plays, but they also make a lot of big plays. So they could get some points that way.
Guys, Steve, listen. We've got to clip that one. Like, I think that might be our sales pitch for next season. When we're teeing this thing up and we're trying to sell the Will and TJ Sunday Night Football pre-lock, we just say, hey, sometimes Jordan Love looks like Patrick Mahomes. Sometimes he looks like Patrick Starr from SpongeBob. TJ, that might be the quote of the year. You should have saved that one for next week to close this show out. Incredible. Folks, I think that's actually the show. Like, there's nothing else we can say to sell you on how great this show is. All right, let's continue. TJ, kickers. By the way, I do agree with your analysis, by the way. But best quote of the year, folks, by none other than TJ here. Kickers. I think kickers are in play. How are you feeling about? And I always think kickers are in play for what it's worth, especially in a game like this. So, Greg Joseph, Anders Carlson, only a $200 difference. I think both are fine. I think you sprinkle them in. We do have Joseph at 30% and Carlson at 17%, which I don't know why there's such a big gap. I probably people are playing the Jaren Hall angle, thinking they won't be able to score points, but maybe be able to move the ball. I'm going to go with that theory. I think I'm right, but I still don't think Carlson should be 13% lower than Joseph. For me, I probably just run them both at 20% and call it a night. Somewhere up in there, call it a night. What are your thoughts on the kickers here?
Exact same page for me. I would, if I was running a lot of lineups, I would run them both at 20%. I currently have each of them in one lineup, but it's the same lineup. I kind of feel like I haven't looked into this. I don't know if anybody has, but I really feel like kickers must correlate well together. If somebody's kicking a lot of field goals, that means the other team doesn't always have to go for the touchdown. They can kick a field goal to stay in a game, so that maybe they're a little less aggressive. And so I like pairing the kickers together.
Some of these stupid coaches in the NFL, you'd be very surprised.
True, very true. But having said that, I still do like going with both of them in the same lineup for tournaments. If I were only playing one, I would just rather go with Carlson at half the ownership. But having said that, because Joseph does have this better projection, the way I'm kind of handling that with the high ownership is adding him to my prize picks card. That was another person I wrote up today is Greg Joseph, more than 7.5 kicking points. I don't really know why, but we got him projected for 9.4, and 9.4 is a lot more than 7.5. So I hammered that on prize picks today.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, TJ, let's talk through some FanDuel. And Carolina guy, who's been a huge supporter of us, Carolina guy, thanks so much for joining us, and not just for this slate, but plenty of slates. He's in the building. We appreciate it. And Andrew, we're going to get your question as well. Ty Chandler, MVP for FanDuel GPP large field. How are we feeling about Ty Chandler? FanDuel, a little bit different situation for those of you that may not play over there, which I always assume most do, but some may not. Totally different vibe. Obviously, they go with the FanDuel scoring, which isn't PPR, it's half-point PPR. And then also, there's no penalty for the MVP position. So they're not moving the salary and make you make a decision. You can just plug someone in there, and everything's going to be the same. And also, they have one less player, I think it is, in the particular bill. So, TJ, anything there in terms of MVP, FanDuel, Ty Chandler, and then would you fade Jordan Love in a FanDuel GPP?
Yeah, I love the Ty Chandler and MVP call. The one thing I would just say to make sure to remember on FanDuel specifically that not enough people take into account is if you're doing that, make sure you have a specific script that makes sense for that. So basically one of two things. If Ty Chandler is going to be the game's highest scorer, because there's no salary multiplier over there, so you're needing him to be the highest scorer in the game. So if he's going to be that, you're looking to build your lineup with either he scores all the touchdowns for Minnesota, they're leaving, and you have a bunch of Packers, either Love and some pass catchers, because you're saying that they're going to have to catch up. They're coming from behind. They're throwing the ball a lot. Or the Packers just suck, and so you're wanting to make – and that's why Ty Chandler is the MVP. They win. They blow them out. They win by 21 points. And in that case, you're going to want to make sure that you probably have the Vikings defense. Maybe you take a shot on a double running back lineup, but if not, that's fine. You do Vikings defense, find another cheapie, get Justin Jefferson in there too, run an onslaught. Just make sure you build a specific script if you're going that route.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. I think for me, if I'm going captain on FanDuel, I do like Jordan Love in the captain for what it's worth, just because if they win this game, I feel like it's because of him, if that makes sense, TJ. And perhaps he's spraying the ball around. I feel like he's still got enough young receivers where Dobbs could catch a touchdown, Jaden Reed could catch a touchdown, Kraft could catch a touchdown, Aaron Jones could run in one touchdown or catch one. Like if Jordan Love has 3 touchdown passes, he's probably the optimal MVP, in my opinion. I don't see Jaren Hall pushing it down the field like this. I will say Jaren Hall does have some rushing ability though, so you do want to remember that. But I think for me, if I was going with J Love, I wouldn't fade him. And if you think this game has any type of back and forth potential, then I always like the quarterbacks on FanDuel as a result of that. Unless one of the wide receivers catches like 2 touchdowns, the quarterbacks and running backs tend to kind of run it over there. All right, TJ, that is FanDuel. Let's talk through DraftKings and let's talk through a build. Now I know you said I think we're gonna go in the middle here. I think Jaden Reed at captain for our DraftKings build is probably going to be, what you and I are going to agree on the most. And not that we're disagreeing, just in terms of we feel like if you were running one lineup, single entry, Jaden Reed's the guy at captain for me. So this is for all our single entry folks and guys that may not be running 150 and can't get exposure to every single person. Sometimes you just need one really good quality lineup and you ride that wave in single entry, TJ. In single entry, a good lineup can win. In the millie, you have to have basically the perfect lineup. But in a $5 single entry, a $10, it doesn't matter what level. A good lineup, a good quality high scoring lineup can take it down. So in terms of DraftKings, I think Jaden Reed is our launching pad at captain. I think he gives us everything that we need. And then TJ, I'll kick it over to you. What is kind of your next man in? If we're I think I know where we're going here. I've got an idea of where we want to go, but we plug Jaden Reed at captain. That leaves us with $7,780 left. And then what's kind of your next man in?
Next man in for me would be Justin Jefferson. We're using the savings to get for a reason. We want to be spending up here. Justin Jefferson is the top dog in this game. He's the guy that we want to make sure we get it.
Okay, Justin Jefferson. I think we know where I'm going. Next for me, it's Tucker Kraft. I just think the volume in this offense is going to be too hefty for us to leave him idly standing by. Give me Tucker Kraft at $5,800. TJ, this is looking good. We've got $7,033 left, still 3 spots. I think I know where you're going, to someone that you talked about earlier. Who's your next man in?
So, believe it or not, with Tucker Kraft and Jaden Reed already here, there are some cheapies, some other guys I'd want to get in, but I'd want to make sure we actually have Jordan Love in this lineup. Just because we already got Reed, we already got Kraft. Love would be my main, my number one choice. Then from there, I'd probably, because he's cheap enough, I'd probably want to use Jaren Hall and see if I can just get a punt somewhere.
Well, I think we can do it, TJ. And we've talked about, some things that you could do. Now, listen, you're going to be really at the bottom here, I think, in this game, trying to pull in someone under 1K. I will say that. I think you're going to be at the bottom. Don't get me wrong. So, folks, this lineup is going to be – now, I think there's a way we can do this, TJ, and we can kind of flip this a little bit. Now, look, folks, TJ and I agree that Jaden Reed is probably how we want to do this thing. It's probably how we want to do it. But in this particular lineup, TJ, if we plug in Tucker Kraft at captain, and then we plug Jaden Reed back in the flex, it does open it up like just a touch more. Now, look, I'm just showing you guys how you can do this, okay? It just opens it up a touch. It's not anything crazy, but it gives you a few more dollars, just a few more dollars, and now you're left with $2,500. But once again, folks, TJ and I agree. Jaden Reed is the optimal captain, I think. Single entry, 3 entry max. If I'm in a 20 entry max field, I probably have him in 4 or 5 lineups for what it's worth. You know what I'm saying, TJ? So I just want to kind of put that out there. But we do get the Tucker Kraft spinning, and that gives us a few more dollars to get in, someone that actually may see the field a little bit more. It doesn't open it up much, though. Like, you're getting Toure, or because you can't get much still with that. So it's probably Toure or, I don't know, Patrick Taylor or something crazy. You just kind of hope A.J. Dillon just doesn't play the rest of the game. I think if that's what you're kind of looking for. We've got Andrew A. here with the question, TJ, any news on Alexander Madison in terms of snap counts? He should be good to go, but his price is too close to Chandler, and his rushing line is only 20 yards. I'm not high on Madison tonight. The rush line is 20 yards. Most of the projections are pretty low on him, and I think we've seen Ty Chandler kind of take over the backfield. They're not really in contention for anything, so I I'm not high on Madison. Jeff Norton says we kind of like Heath. Yeah, Jeff, we've actually talked about Malik Heath. We like him a lot tonight. Thanks for joining us, by the way. TJ, how are you feeling about Madison in a nutshell? I know you said you're not really playing him. I'm not either. So just where are you at there?
No, I'm not playing him at all. The only way I'd be getting to him if I was running 150 and I wanted to run a couple, maybe Chandler at captain with the defense and Madison there, or even a Minnesota defense at captain and throw both running backs on that team.
Okay. Well, TJ, listen, I think we've hit it. I know we're getting close to a lot. We're going to put some time back in people's day. I think we've got to all of the questions. Fireworks are happening in my neighborhood, and as you can see on my screen there, and I know you can't hear them, but this is obviously a backdrop or a green screen filter. But fireworks are actually happening, and so I want to wish all of you guys as we enter 2024 a happy new year. I hope this is a good year for you. I hope that you enjoy this slate. And as this game is wrapping up, TJ, we'll be really close to 2024. I want to thank you, brother, for hanging in there and joining me. And it's just been such a pleasure. And I hope we can continue to do these shows for many more times to come. TJ, anything else you want to say before we close this thing out?
No, sir. Couldn't have said it better myself. Have a happy new year, everybody. And yeah, let's make some money tonight.
All right, for our illustrious producer, Steve, I am Chief. That has been TJ. This is the Pre-Lock Show for Sunday Night Football. We'll see you back here next week.